this video, we're going to be making a cross between a Hamburger Helper and a chili mac, or the beefaroni that you get in the cans, but we're going to be limiting the number of processed ingredients, and we're going to be giving it a whole lot of flavor from some non-traditional ingredients, and you can customize this in any way that you want to. And the way we're going to be adding the flavor in is that our red base that we're using has a very small amount of tomato that you could actually leave out if you wanted to. And the base of this is actually going to be guajillo chilies and ancho chilies. And for those of you that are like, hey, that's gonna be way too spicy, like I am the biggest wimp when it comes to spice known to man. Like jalapenos are too spicy for me, and this is very, very, very mild to me, and it works perfectly. And if it's a little bit too spicy for you, if you just add a little bit of sour cream to it when you serve it, then it's absolutely perfect. But we do add a little bit of tomato in the form of these little tubes of tomato paste. And that is a great way to add tomato, because when you get the cans and you're not using the whole can of it, then whatever's left gets wasted. And so I always like buying it in these little tubes. It's like a tube of toothpaste, and it goes in very, very easily. You can use just the amount that you want and put the rest of it in the fridge to use later, and it's a whole lot easier. So that's just something to think about. But the other thing about this video is that we have a guest artist this week. We have Mr. Merks. My husband is going to be the main cook in this video, because this is his creation of making the base and everything. And so he is going to be the main cook in this video, but I'm going to be doing the narrations and that kind of thing. But I hope you guys enjoy this recipe. I hope it's something you can try at home. And just keep in mind, these chilies go a long way. They're super, super cheap. And this is a great way to make Hamburger Helper or chili mac that's actually pretty cheap, and it's actually cheaper than making the store-bought version, and it tastes so, so much better. So come along and join us. So for your ingredients, you want 2 pounds of ground beef, and the way that we buy this is it goes on sale buy 2 get 3 free at our grocery store, and we stock up and freeze it, so it's a great way to save money. A pound of macaroni noodles, 2 onions, 2 ancho chilies, 7 guajillo chilies, about 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 to 3 teaspoons of tomato paste, and then salt, pepper, and garlic powder, and you're going to adjust that to taste. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is chop up your onions, and you want these to be a pretty even size so that they're going to cook up evenly. But you can also buy the frozen chopped onions if you don't want to chop, or that you have a hard time with mobility or anything like that. But the 2 onions will work great for that, or about a pound of onions. And then when you are cutting your chilies, you're going to cut the top off of the chilies and then get the seeds out of those. And if you cut the top off and kind of roll them, then the seeds will come out pretty easily. You just kind of split them open with your fingers and pop those out. It's also important to know that with chilies that the names of the chilies are different than the names of the peppers. So ancho chilies are a type of pepper, and the guajillo chilies are a type of pepper. And to be honest with you, it's a little bit hard for me to keep track of which is which, but there's definitely resources on the internet that tell you which type is which. But these are basically just dried peppers. So if you have a garden, you could dry your own peppers, and then you would have chilies to use throughout the year. As you are taking the seeds out of these, you want to put these in a heat-proof bowl, and you'll see why that's important in a little bit. I'm just using a measuring cup, or a liquid measuring cup would work great for this, but you're going to pour boiling water over top of this. And the reason for that is we're rehydrating the chilies just a little bit, just to get them a little bit plumper. They're kind of the texture of raisins when you start out, and so we're just getting it a little bit more hydrated. And then you're just going to let that sit, and while you're letting that sit, we're going to start the rest of our processes. And so you're going to add butter to a skillet on medium heat and bring your water to a boil at this point for your pasta. And this is a way to just kind of overlap your tasks to make this process take as little time as possible. I think the entire process from start to finish is about 30 to 45 minutes, and that's giving yourself a whole lot of time. And if you want to save some time, you can do that chili process and then freeze some to use later. So then you're going to add your onions and saute those for a bit, and then add your ground beef in, and then add your pasta to the water. And then you're just going to move that ground beef around to saute it. Squeeze your tomato paste into the ground beef, and that's just going to be to taste. If you are struggling with tomatoes, like it gives you heartburn or something like that, then you can just leave that tomato paste out. And any of these amounts you can adjust to whatever works for your family. And at this point, your noodles are probably done, so you can drain those noodles. So after that, you're going to drain your chilies, and you do want to keep that water, because the water you're going to need to fill out your amounts of pureeing those. And what we found is that putting these into a cup to puree them works really, really well. We're going to be using an immersion blender for this. And so we put them into a stainless steel tumbler and just put them in there with a little bit of that reserved water. And you're going to adjust that water amount as you go, and then just put that stick blender in there and blend it until it is smooth. And we're just making ourselves a little sauce for your chili mac, or like homemade Hamburger Helper, or whatever you want to call it. So you want this to be kind of the consistency of tomato sauce, not the consistency of tomato paste. So you're thinking kind of like spaghetti sauce. And then you're going to add that pureed chili mix to your ground beef. Make sure you scrape all of that goodness in there, because you want to make sure you have as much flavor as possible. And then one of the most important things when you're cooking is to taste and adjust your seasoning. So at this point, you're going to add in some all-purpose seasoning, your choice, like some seasoning salt, whatever type of seasoning that you enjoy. And then you're just going to add your noodles into that mix and serve. Now you'll notice we have a lot more noodles in the pound box. We always cook 2 pounds of noodles at this point, because we like to have just extra noodles in the fridge to make macaroni salad or whatever extra meal that we want to have at that point in time. So if we have water boiling, we're going to make extra noodles. But this is what your final product looks like. It is an awesome filling meal. You can use more noodles to make it stretch a little bit further, less noodles to make it a little bit heartier. But it's an amazing way to make a little bit more of a homemade version of Hamburger Helper. This is a reminder that we still have our 2 membership levels, our 20-quart and 5-quart levels, and please consider joining, and we will have those live streams coming up for member levels. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to support our channel in an absolutely free way, please hit that subscribe button. It's an easy way to support the channel and let us know that you like what we're doing. And don't forget to like this video, comment if you try it out, or comment if you'd like to try it out, and any suggestions that you have. And we'll see you next week.